Let's go! Are you kidding me? Another spring practice scrimmage kind of sort of thing where you can't really tackle and bring anyone down. But, of course, there's a lot to break down, as you guys see in the background, a broken play here by Jayden Daniels. And, of course, our spring practice breakdowns presented by Presley Collection and PresleyCollection.com. First thing, obviously, here on this first play, and we're going to break down a lot. Tomorrow, we're actually going to do a deep dive on Myles Brennan snaps. First thing is the snaps have got to get better. We've seen a few high snaps already, so this kind of sort of throws the timing off of this. But anyway, this is just broken. We don't know if this was supposed to be a handoff. All right, let's get that play and get to the next play, and guess what? It's also a broken play. So we're going to go ahead and run it for you at full speed, and then we'll bring it back. It's hard to see the routes to see if anything was open, but Jayden Daniels does the right thing, breaks contain, and throws the ball to Malik Nabers on a comeback. And let's see what happens here. I think it's actually Josh Williams that did not carry out this play action fake, and Jayden Daniels is just sitting here waiting, and you can see we are pulling Tremont short. So when you pull a guard in pass protection, the good thing is that linebackers are told whenever there's a pulling guard that more than likely it's going to be a run. You see the linebacker step up. They weren't really fooled because there really wasn't a play action fake. And Mike Jones and Greg Penn does a good job of getting back in their drop. Savion Jones actually does a good job getting interior pressure. The issue with that, though, is that we don't have a contained defender. Especially going up against a mobile quarterback like Jayden Daniels, we don't want to allow easy contained break, especially to the right. So this is where Jayden Daniels is at his most dangerous, rolling out to the right with no one in his way. So he could have ran for 10 yards there, and obviously he takes the better option right there to Malik. All right, it's a really good play there, and then we get to this next play, and what we're actually going to do is not spend too much time on this play because it got blown up. BJ made a really good play on it. Greg Penn as well. Josh Williams running the football. The blocking has got to be really good. So guess what Mike Denbrock and Brian Kelly decide to do? Well, they go back to their roots and bring in an old familiar name, Nick Storz, former LSU baseball player, but also former LSU tight end. Now, he didn't play football last year, but he was a big tight end and special teamer in 2020. And what LSU decides to do to oppose that is they bring in an extra defensive lineman. So LSU is essentially in a five-man front here. We're going to go ahead and run this play, and we're going to break it down a little bit deeper because I do think this is something LSU is going to want to do, and it is a little unorthodox, and you see this ended up being a really big run right here by Trey Bradford. So the first thing I want to discuss is the big juxtaposition between what Brian Kelly did at Notre Dame, Mike Denbrock at Cincinnati, and what LSU did last year with their personnel. You're looking at a chart here from J. Bud Davis showing that 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receivers, 1 running back, and 1 tight end, was by far the most popular formation used throughout college football. But what's really fascinating is LSU ran more 10 personnel than teams normally do, and Notre Dame ran more 12 personnel than teams normally do. And actually, the star of this play was Nick Storz. So let's get back to this play where LSU is running a rare 12 personnel. They kept Cole Taylor on the field at 1 tight end, and now Nick Storz is right here. And we actually have a walk-on wide receiver, and I believe Kyron Lacey. And what we decide to do defensively, B.J. Ojulari is still playing the standing outside linebacker role, but now Savion Jones is playing a standing defensive end role on the opposite side, and we have 3 interior defenders. Now, you've heard me talk about this all the time on this channel. I hate it when LSU crowds the line of scrimmage because if any of these guys get blown out of their gaps, you're going to give up a big play in the running game. And this is a new position for Savion, but Nick Storz just eats his lunch right here. First thing, he's way lower than Storz. Storz is way lower than Savion Jones, and watch what he does to him. That should be illegal. That's just so freaking nuts that this guy who just came back is whipping up a pretty good athlete right here. But there's a few other things about this play I want to get to. Cole Taylor, you want this to be as flat as you possibly can, and we want a big collision right here on Greg Penn. He's pulling. You got to have a good kick-out block right here. He kind of rounds it off. He has a tendency to do that when he pulls, and we want it to be flat. And notice, Greg Penn actually takes it to him and actually squeezes this down. Not too bad right here. Greg Penn is your new contained defender. He knows that he has to keep contained right here. And you see right here, Wingo was almost able to shed this block right here by Miles Frazier to make the play. But because Jones got blown back into these other linebackers, Nick Storz was the only reason this play worked. So that's the thing. When you go to that five-man front, particularly those edge defenders, they've got to be dudes, and that's just for any 3-4 or odd front defense to work. You've got to have some monsters at those edge defender roles. I actually really like this play. They normally ran it for Jack Besh last year. Just a little misdirection slip right there to Jaray Jenkins. Some really good stuff. It's never going to be a big gainer, but it can obviously open some things up for your offense. I thought this was a very exotic play. What it looks like off the jump here is on this play action run fake, it looks as if this is supposed to be a slip to Cole Taylor in the flat. And if Walker wanted to throw it, this actually would not have been a bad option. But the design of this play is actually to be thrown to the initial running back in the play action fake. Okay? Play action fake right here, and you slip it to the middle. Now, what makes this play very interesting? Boom! I'm looking at you. Yes, you. I know you've already subscribed to the channel, and you're absolutely going to love this. This is a very different variation of the play, but it's actually the same concept. Denbrock actually got this for a touchdown versus Notre Dame last year. Okay? Play action to the running back, and guess what? Everyone is expecting this to be some type of slip or rollout to the right to the receiver. Instead, Denbrock slow plays it and throws a touchdown over the middle to the running back. It didn't count because we had an illegal man downfield penalty past the 3-yard mark, but still some pretty fancy stuff. So why didn't the play work this time? Well, actually, once again, kind of like a second ago, it was one person that actually made this play. Yes, this was a high throw by Walker Howard, but it was actually a linebacker we haven't mentioned a whole lot, Kolbe Fields, okay? So, first thing here is Fitzgerald West is your center, and as you can see, he snaps the football different. I think this is called a dead ball snap, where you actually you're palming the football to snap it back instead of your hand being on the laces or the side of the football. And it is a different version of a snap, kind of off to the right, but still somewhat accurate. So, Fitzgerald West snaps the football and immediately goes to the second level. And you notice here, Kolbe Fields initially steps to the left because he thinks this is a run to the left. So once he sees the football wasn't handed off, he works his way back to the right and he forces Fitzgerald West to whiff. But good news, we actually also had a left tackle working to the second level, walk on Brian Balestra. We left the defensive end unblocked, so at least the left tackle was going to pick up Kolbe Fields, right? Well, no. He whiffs Kolbe Fields. So alligator breathing down your neck, and all we had to do is get a decent throw because, look, Micah Baskerville is fooled by this. He's running out to Cole Taylor. Evan Franchione's getting a good block downfield. And look, Jordan Tolles is right here, and you notice the middle of the field is wide open. So if we complete this football to Armani Goodwin, it's off to the races, right? Right. But Kolbe Fields fights through not one but two blockers. He was right there to make the tackle, even if the ball was accurately thrown. Just going to go ahead and run this play. Maason Smith. I mean, this is just spectacular stuff. I mean, and he didn't even try to bring him down. It was just his strength, okay? So let's go ahead and bring it back here. Once again, Cole Taylor as a puller sometimes can leave a lot to be desired. But sometimes as well, this is a fake pull and go to the second level, and you just hope this fake pull holds him up enough that Armani Goen can get past there, and you now have a lead blocker. There's also a piece of me that says Cole Taylor just didn't want to take Maason Smith on head up, and I totally get it. Still Maason Smith, I mean, goodness gracious. Jaquelin Wood was right there as well. I mean, these two, monsters. So I hope you enjoyed this brief film breakdown. Tomorrow we're actually going to go pretty deep on Myles Brennan, who had, yet again, a nice scrimmage when it comes to making deep plays. Look at Maason, that single-digit 0. You got to love it. So obviously there will be some videos floating in your face in just a second. And in fact, this is a rare Saturday video drop. We're about to start a live stream if you are watching this on a premiere. So obviously, keep an open mind. I say this during every breakdown that we do. I am not a coach. I don't especially know these play calls. And all these players are practically new with the new coaches. So there's just so much learning going on at the same time. So these are all just my best educated guesses. Really good stuff right here by Doomerville on the spin move to Ali Gay. Good pocket right here for Walker Howard, and he throws a great comeback right there to Malik Nabers. So obviously a lot more to get to in tomorrow's film study with Myles Brennan. It is Power Hour LSU Buff. Oh, tonight we're doing some lamb. Let's go.